Starting us off after a weekend of Wild Card Weekend, not so many impressive games. We're heading into the divisional today, and we got Texans at Chiefs, Commanders at Lions, Rams at Eagles, and Ravens at Bills. So a lot of exciting games coming up, but who do you guys think is going to come out on top of these games to lead us to the championship week?
Yeah, for the first game, we have the Texans at the Chiefs. And honestly, the Texans had an impressive win last week against the Chargers. Justin Herbert played his worst game of his life, and the Texans defense looked pretty good. Nico Collins was a stud, but they're just too injured. Mixon was questionable going to the week. I don't think they stand a chance against the Chiefs.
Let me just put it this way. The betting line, I looked at it today, it was like 9.5. That's generous. That's generous. I think this Kansas City team is going to win by 2 touchdowns. I'm done betting against Mahomes. I'm done choosing other teams in previous years. Last year, I think I took, who did I take? Buffalo, maybe?
You took Buffalo.
Yeah, I think I took Buffalo. I'm done. I'm done doing that. Mahomes is just, he's just different. And someone can call it glaze, but I'm just speaking facts at this point.
Playoff Mahomes.
The only two, I was thinking about it earlier, the only 2 quarterbacks to ever beat Mahomes in the playoff is Burrow and Brady. That's it. No one else.
And Joe Burrow is not in the playoffs this year, so
that is true. And then going into Arrowhead, the rowdiest, stadium in the NFL,
especially in the playoffs.
Exactly. The atmosphere is going to be electric. Yeah. I do think it's going to end up being Chiefs and the Bills next week in Arrowhead, which would be an electric game rematch for earlier in the season. Technically, their only loss. I'm not counting Denver as a loss
because they rested everyone.
Exactly. This Chiefs team really hasn't lost this year.
Their only real loss was against the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, who's been playing at an MVP level, along with Lamar Jackson, who's the opponent tomorrow, that's going to be a very exciting game in my opinion. I think it's going to be a shootout 100%, both top 5 quarterbacks easily. But my pick, I'm definitely taking the Chiefs as well. Like Henry said, playoff Mahomes. You can't bet against him.
Also, how do you stop just the Kelsey Mahomes duo at this point? And the
defense
too.
That
She's
really
the best defense remaining.
Their defense is better than the offense.
Yeah.
It's not a great.
Kelsey was good, but he wasn't as big as a factor.
Now he's getting way more involved.
Kelsey wasn't a big factor in the beginning of the year, but he's starting to get way more involved. I still think the Texans could put up a good fight. Yeah. But I think the Chiefs are taking this one.
All right, now in a Saturday night's game, we have the Commanders visiting the Lions after the Commanders pull off the upset in Tampa in the wild card. Who do you guys think have this game?
See, I've gone back and forth with this game, and same with the Rams Eagles game, because there's definitely some bias in it. I don't want Washington to win, so I'm of course not going to pick them to win. But also, I was really looking at the 2 teams. Tampa Bay's defense figured out a way to stop Jaden Daniels in, a couple clutch 4th down situations. And, that defense is not that great. And same with, Detroit's. That's why I was like, you know what? Washington might have a chance to win this game. But then I was looking at Washington's defense. They're just not stopping Detroit. You can't stop Detroit with that defense. And I do think this game actually, call me crazy, I do think it's going to be a high-scoring shootout kind of game. Both defenses are not very good. Detroit's extremely banged up. But I don't see how Detroit loses in Detroit. The tickets for this game, the average ticket price is $1,000.
Oh my.
So, talk about rowdy fans. That place is going to be electric.
Especially everything they've been through. Obviously, a disappointing season after disappointing season. Now, they're claiming their first number 1 seed in the NFC.
But this is the year though for that.
This is their year.
If they don't win this year, it's going to be very, very difficult.
I like to bring up a point. As hurt as their defense might be, their defense is still playing great. They're missing Aiden Hutchinson, but that's a big loss to their D-line. But they got obviously Darius Smith there too. They'll kind of replace him, but their defense is still great. But I am taking Detroit in this too. Overall, I think that Jaden Daniels though could put up a little bit of a fight against Detroit early on because, as you know, I think he was one of the best rookie QBs this year. And the Commanders' defense, it's good, but it's not too. I don't think it's good enough, like Henry said, to beat Detroit's offense. Offense is too fast.
I think this game is going to be a close game because Washington doesn't get blown out. They keep games close.
They
keep games close because they take control of time possession. That's what they do. Yep. They always dominate time possession because they run the ball and they have very long drives. So honestly, I think Washington will cover this spread at 8.5. Yeah. but I don't see them stopping.
What's the
I don't see them stopping Jameer
what's the
Gibbs.
over
I don't
under?
see them stopping Jameer Gibbs and Dave Montgomery. That duo. Detroit's just going to run the ball down their throat. And honestly, for trading for Marshawn Lattimore at the deadline, I don't think really helped them at all. He hasn't been good.
He's been hurt a little bit, so
He's been hurt. He's barely played for them, and he just got toasted by Mike Evans, the wild card. I don't think they have a solidified cornerback one to guard St. Brown.
No.
But-
he plays in
but
the
don't-
slot.
Yeah, he
though,
plays in the
so-
But don't forget, they also have Jameson Williams. He's been playing great in the deep threat. But the thing with Washington, I think the one thing they do have, they have a solid running back in Brian Robinson, and then they have Jaden Daniels, who's a very mobile quarterback, which I think they can use that to advantage. If
Daniels
Detroit-
actually leads them in rushing yards.
But hold
Yeah.
on, it's the same thing. They have Terry as well. Who the hell is going to guard Terry? Their secondary is terrible for the
They
Lions.
still
You
have
look at
Brian
their-
Branch, though.
But
He's
he's
good.
not playing good. You look at the Detroit's
Kirby Joseph is having
Kirby
a stellar
Kirby
season.
Joseph.
look at Detroit's schedule. They allowed 34 to the Niners and won. They allowed 42. I mean, yes, they allowed 48 to Buffalo and put up 42. They allowed 29 to Minnesota and won. Like, they allowed 31 to Green Bay and won. Their defense is, gives up points. My point is that
Their
the
offense scores a lot.
So it's really hard when you're playing such a good offense. And that's why I said that I think that this is going to be a shootout. I think
Yeah.
Washington probably
I think
does
they'll
end up
cover.
covering.
Yeah.
I think they will cover.
You know what I
Washington?
Yeah.
What's the over-under, though?
55.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculously high
Yeah.
over-under. That
You know-
means that, that could easily hit.
You know what is similar I see is that both Dan Quinn and Dan Campbell both go on 4th and 2 all the time. They
Because now you're
both go
well,
on
you're
4th down a
playing- Well,
lot.
you're playing for your season. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but
you gotta go for it.
But even
You
in the
need to go
regular,
for it,
but
you
even
gotta
in
go for it.
even in the regular season, Dan Quinn would do the same thing as Dan Campbell. Even if they didn't need to go on 4th down, they would still go for it because they felt like they had so much trust in their offense, which I think is a huge factor into why the Commanders have gone from one of the worst teams last year to one of the better teams this year because they had their coach actually believed in them.
Yeah. So let's transition over to the next game. I believe it's the 3 o'clock, or is it 3 o'clock? 3:30? Tomorrow in Philadelphia, Eagles, Rams. Again, I don't know. Because, there's so many weird factors to this game. The referee core, the Eagles are 0-3 with them this season, or 0-2 or whatever. And just weird things. I think Goddard got hurt or something like that in practice.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I don't have a prediction for this game. But to be safe, I'm going to say Philly. But I don't want them to win.
I think Philly's going to win, but the thing is, the Rams looked really good last week against the Vikings. They embarrassed the Vikings pretty much. They killed them. It was that was the whole Los Angeles Rams show. They walked into that game and they were like, we're not letting you come into our house and beat us, and they completely gave it to Sam
It wasn't
Darnold.
their house, but
Well, I will say it was in Arizona.
Oh, it was in Arizona.
I will say these two things, they made Minnesota's offensive line look silly.
Yeah, they did.
I'm very curious if
They made their defense look silly.
Right.
The defense was one of the best all year, and
Well, I'm very curious if they can make Philly's offensive line look silly. And their defense was very impressive to me. It was really impressive. Jared Verse looked unbelievable.
They have a very good young D-line.
Yeah.
Good young D-line.
for this game, I actually had the Vikings making to the Super Bowl. Before,
bit of a take.
Bit of a take, but I knew beginning of the season, not beginning of the season, but beginning of the playoffs, that the Rams would be a wild card because they just have such an explosive offense and they have a young, scrappy defense. And in this game against the Eagles and the Rams, I do think Sean McVay is going to drop a really good game plan while using Puka. And
not even Cup anymore. I don't know where he's been.
I'm going to take the Rams in this game. I like their receiving core. I like their scrappy young team. They actually have a young team. They got Byron Young. They have Jared Verse. And they have a really talented cornerback room.
They draft extremely well.
Yeah, they do draft very well.
Very
extremely well. I think the Rams come out of this on top.
Yeah, the thing
Even
is,
in Philly?
Yeah.
I think the Cup and Nakua are both going to have a little trouble with Quinion Mitchell, as he's been one of the best rookie corners this year.
And DeJean, too.
DeJean, too. Their secondary, the Eagles' secondary is one of the best in the league, 100%. And I think this game's gonna be a really good one this weekend. But I have Philly winning. I don't know though, but I think the Rams are gonna keep it close.
I'm interested to see how Philly's offense played because they didn't look good against Green Bay. No. They didn't. Like both teams looked terrible, but Philly's offense did not look good at all.
It didn't look like how it was the past. Saquon was running, but he was getting stopped a little bit by Green Bay.
Right. I mean, this is going to sound like an obvious comment. I mean, it's not meant to be, and I'm going to explain it. But the key to beating Philly is stopping Saquon Barkley.
You need to stop Saquon because then it doesn't lead.
Well, they're not confident.
It doesn't lead to Hurts being able to take the ball on his own and run it in those read option plays.
Exactly, the read option, the play action. I mean, if you're a defense, right, and you're playing against Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, it's very similar to Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. The play action is, a great play because obviously he could be going to your star running back. I'm not going to call Hurts a star, but a very good playmaker is keeping the ball. So if they find a way to stop Saquon, which they looked very good last week, the line looked very good. I don't see Philly's offense doing anything.
I completely agree with you. They need to stop Saquon. You know
why?
why?
You have to stop Saquon.
When Philly played the Rams, regular season.
That was the game.
Saquon had 20 carries for 255 yards.
That was that game.
And 2 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
He had 300 total yards of scrimmage.
I remember that.
And they won 37-20.
That was, oh boy.
The Rams defense is looking at that saying, we're not letting this guy do the same thing.
They can't let him do that. I mean, yeah, they had 4 turnovers. They had 4 fumbles. The Rams had 4 fumbles. So, yes, to beat Philly in Philly, my opinion is that they definitely need to have a clean game. They can't have any turnovers.
No.
They can't give the ball to Philly. And they have to put pressure on Saquon and
100%.
put pressure on Hurts. Hurts is not good. Hurts is not good under pressure.
He's not. That's what I'm saying. If you put Saquon under pressure and Saquon can't build anything,
it puts more pressure on
Hurts.
It puts more pressure on Hurts, where then he's going to panic a little bit.
He's been struggling lately. I mean,
he is. Last week was his first game off of concussion. I gotta say that. So I think he's going to be better this week.
He didn't look that good. I'm not going to lie.
He didn't look like he was the past couple weeks. Streak they've been on.
The Rams have been on a 5-game winning streak. Besides losing to Seattle in Week 18, which they rested their starters. So if you disregard that, they were on a 6-game winning streak, incling the wild card.
And they beat Buffalo.
They beat Buffalo. They beat
that
good
was
teams.
A great game.
They made a comeback from the beginning of the season. I feel like they just have it in the bag.
They've beaten good teams. They beat Buffalo. They beat Minnesota, of course, last week.
This Rams team is very underrated.
And
don't forget, they have a lot of.
I don't know. It's a toss-up. It's really a toss-up.
Don't forget, this team started off 1-4. The Rams started off 1-4, and they ended up winning their division with a 10-7 record.
There were Stafford trade rumors with the Giants,
and Cooper Kupp trade rumors to the Steelers.
Crazy.
There were, but the question is, I saw a graphic. And apparently it's going to be a very, very cold game. And Stafford is
it's going to be 35 degrees.
Stafford's 1-7 or 1-5 in cold games.
I mean, they play in LA.
Right,
so.
And they play in a dome. So I don't know if that's going to be a factor. But then I'm going to say he played in Detroit, but that was also a dome. So it's I don't know. A lot of moving pieces for this game.
It really is a toss-up.
All right, let's move on to the best game of them all.
It's going to happen this week.
Either the MVPs are facing up against each other. The winner and the runner-up, obviously Ravens versus the Bills. In Buffalo, holy aura of a game.
Yeah.
Give me Buffalo.
This is going to be an insane game.
Buffalo.
I think Lamar and Josh Allen are both going to put up great shows on both sides of offense. And I think that Buffalo's going to take this. I think that Josh Allen just is playing really good, even though Lamar Jackson is playing out of his mind again. I just think that Buffalo's defense might come up a little big in here, especially in Buffalo.
I think, yes, they're playing in Buffalo. Yes, it's going to be 17 degrees out. Yes.
Is Lamar used to 17
Zay Flowers
degrees?
is doubtful for this game.
Oh, he's not playing.
It's
a big thing.
It's going to be a tough matchup for Baltimore. I mean, they're missing key guys. The weather is not on their side. They're in Buffalo with crazy fans. But Lamar is seeking revenge from previous years. He has yet to make a Super Bowl. He has yet to even come close to
Same with Josh Allen, though,
Nope.
too. He's never made a Super Bowl either.
He's only made.
I feel like everyone's taking Buffalo for this game. Everyone's taking Josh Allen.
The Ravens are favored. You know
by
that, right?
1.
Still favored though. Like,
Give me the Baltimore Ravens heading into Buffalo and beating the Bills.
let me explain why I think that Buffalo is going to win this game. First of all, you pretty much said it's no Zay Flowers. So they're already weak wide receiver core. Got even worse. I mean, Rashad Bateman.
Don't worry. They reclaimed Deontay Johnson.
He's not. I don't think he's
He
even
can't
allowed.
play.
He can't.
He can't play?
The only reason why they claimed him and is actually extremely smart. Heads
Why?
up to the GM. They can get a draft
Okay.
pick.
That's
They can
crazy.
get it's very, very smart. Great by the Ravens. That was very smart.
One thing before you continue, the one X
for it.
factor for the Bills is that they don't have a true wide receiver one. I know like the emergence of Khalil Shakir, he's been a big factor in their offense, but they don't have a true wide receiver one. They thought Amari Cooper was going to be that. He hasn't really played out of his mind.
Let me
He
explain.
played basic.
I'll tell you why that
everything.
works. for
Keon
them,
Coleman's good.
That works in their favor. That works in their favor because instead of having one guy you had to put all your attention on, Josh Allen can just do whatever he sees and works.
He gets it to
He
anyone who's
said-
available.
What he said was, "We don't have a true wide receiver." They know this. This is their team. They said they don't have a true wide receiver one. One guy. Like one game, one guy can have 80 yards. The next game, he can have nothing.
Exactly.
It's just about what happens and what plays out. So that's what I really like about their offense is that they don't. There's no more digs. There's no more. There's no one.
It relies heavily on James Cook as he had 16 rushing touchdowns.
But also, no one's crying for the ball anymore.
No.
Diggs was crying for the ball when he was there, and that was a very big issue
And now
for the
that-
offense. Now the ball is getting passed around, and it's clearly
open up.
working.
It's opened up more for Josh Allen to give it to who he wants, what's the better option, and not give it to that one guy.
Exactly.
Like Khalil Shakir, you can see him on the slant round. He takes
Shakir,
it.
Knox,
Keon
Kincaid.
Coleman makes good catches.
Yeah.
Knox makes good catches.
Yeah.
Kincaid's a good
And
tight end.
honestly, even like their backup running back,
Ray
is
Davis.
getting involved. Is it Ray Davis or
Ray
Davis?
Ray
Yeah.
Davis.
Um,
And even not even their backup. They have another one, Ty Johnson, the third down back.
Yeah, that's what I was
They
saying.
have-
Yeah, Johnson. Yeah,
Ty
yeah.
Johnson gets
He's
involved.
getting
in
involved too. Yeah.
He's a good receiving back for them. It just seems like their offense is flowing, working so well together and in a flow right now that I think that it's going to be tough for this Baltimore defense. But the thing to side with the Ravens quickly, the Buffalo's going to have to figure out how to stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson duo right there because that's a big duo right there. Both one of the best running backs in the league, probably a top 3 quarterback in the league. And they're both very mobile, so I think Buffalo's defense going to have a tough
The
time.
thing with Baltimore's defense is that they have the best run defense in the NFL statistically, but they have the worst pass offense in the NFL.
Buffalo's the worst pass
No,
offense.
Baltimore.
Oh.
Baltimore has the best rush defense, but the worst pass defense.
So let me just say one thing. Let me just say one thing about that. I'm looking at the box score from last game against Denver. Denver had a combined total through 5 different players, a total of 79 rushing yards. But
they don't have a true RB1.
No,
that is true. But when you can, my point is that if they're able to limit Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry like that, this game is going to be over because then they're going to have to rely on the passing game. Who the hell are you going to pass it to? I mean, first of all, it's
you could easily say Baltimore and
Rashad
Buffalo
Bateman
have like equal wide receiver.
Yeah,
But
Rashad Bateman has
they're
been
used-
solid this year, though.
He's been solid, but that's just Buffalo's game. And if you look at the best teams in the NFL, they don't have a true wide receiver one. They don't. Buffalo, no. Kansas City
would be Rashee Rice,
but not the past couple of years when they won a Super Bowl. I mean,
I
they
guess
won
so.
one with Rice as a rookie, but before that, no wide receiver one.
Yeah.
My point is that Lamar has a go-to guy this year, and it's been Flowers, and Josh Allen doesn't really have that guy. He just does what works. My point is that if you limit Derrick Henry, limit the rushing game, and force Lamar to throw, you got to get him uncomfortable and put him in a situation where he's not used to. That's how Buffalo goes out and wins this game. That's what they did last week to Denver. They put them in a situation they're not comfortable with, made them throw, they lost by 24.
Honestly, I
They're
think
comfortable throwing, but my point is that put them in a situation they're not used to, lost by
And don't
24.
forget, Bo Nix came out and scored right away, but
They
then
adjusted
Buffalo.
really quickly.
Then Buffalo.
in my opinion, I don't think Buffalo has enough to beat Baltimore. Their offense doesn't have enough. Yes, they have Josh Allen, top 3 quarterback in the league, top 2 this season, whatever you want to call it. But they don't have enough weapons. I mean, on the other side, Baltimore still has the best running offense in the NFL. You have Lamar and you have Derrick Henry. Like, we knew going into the season that would be unstoppable, and they've exceeded expectations as Derrick Henry's second best running back, clear second best running back in the NFL, and Lamar is an MVP candidate, and he leads all quarterbacks in rushing stats. So when you put those two together, if Buffalo manages to stop the run, yes, they probably have a good chance to win. But if they can't, then they're going to be outscored, in my opinion.
It's a very similar
Yeah.
strategy with the Rams. Gotta stop Saquon.
Yeah.
Gotta stop Derrick Henry.
It's just very similar.
That's what it
It's
is.
very similar between the Ravens and the Eagles. Like to a stud running back and a really good and a stud quarterback for the Ravens, and you got Jalen Hurts, who I think is good. I think he's at least top 10.
Well, at least Hurts has someone to throw the ball to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think this Ravens and Bills game is going to be the best game of the weekend.
Yeah.
And I had Buffalo winning it, but not without a shootout, 100%. Leading into another great day of football on Monday, the college football championship between Ohio State and Notre Dame. That should be a fun one. And what do you guys think is going to come out on top in this?
OHIO, baby. Ohio State is going to blow them out. I think they're going to win by 2 to 3 touchdowns. I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be much of a game, honestly.
Look, Notre Dame had a good run. You know, they beat a couple good teams. They beat Penn State. They beat Indiana. They beat Georgia, I think, in the
Georgia.
playoffs.
They beat
But
Georgia. No Carson Beck, but yeah, they beat,
yeah,
they beat
no
Georgia.
Carson
Yeah.
back. But they still beat Penn State, Indiana. Solid run, but it ends here. Ohio State is winning it all. They have the best offense
Let me just say this real quick.
in the nation.
Ohio State beat Oregon by 35, the best team in the nation.
Oh
They
my
beat
God.
Yep.
Indiana by 25. They beat Penn State in Penn State. They beat they're all the teams Notre Dame has beaten. They've beaten, but by more, and just overall better game on Ohio State's side.
I think that Notre Dame has a solid defense, and they could play well to start it off in the half, but I think, like you guys said, Ohio State's the offense is just too good. Jeremiah Smith, Amika, and then all.
It's really just
Look.
Jeremiah. It's Jeremiah Smith and Emeka. You can't stop that dude.
My bad.
Dude,
You can't stop that.
Ohio
dude.
State has
It's
the better.
over.
Ohio State has the better quarterback. They
Will
have the
Howard.
better wide receivers.
Better running backs.
I would
I
say-
don't care who.
They have
Ohio
the, they have
State's
the
running
better.
back duo is the best duo in
their
the country.
offense
Whoever
overall
said
is
otherwise
better
is
than-
just completely
Their
not-
offense
not true.
overall is better than Notre Dame. Their whole offense is better than Notre Dame, 100%.
Yeah,
And that's it.
and their defense is very good too. Very good defense.
Yeah,
But don't.
Zach
I wouldn't
Sawyer.
sleep on Notre Dame's defense either. But,
But I
it's
like-
gonna be
I like-
they're definitely gonna be challenged by this Ohio State
I do
offense.
like Marcus Freeman a lot better than I like Ryan Day. I think that Notre Dame has a coaching upside, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they can. I don't know if he can pull this one out. I
I
don't
mean,
think
the
he
last
can.
competitive,
What is
the last
the line
competitive
now?
game Ohio State played was when they lost to Michigan, then
And that was a fluke. That was a fluke.
I don't know what happened there.
What's the line for the game? I'm very curious.
It's 8.5.
Sounds about right.
Sounds
It
about right.
sounds about right. I said they're gonna
I
win by
mean,
2 to 3 touchdowns.
Notre
That's-
Dame barely beat Penn State. They barely beat Georgia.
Yep.
They beat
They beat
Indiana
Indiana.
by
They beat
10.
Indiana pretty but
They've beaten good teams. You know, they've played ranked teams. They played the Navy and Army, and the
but
ranked.
that's not even close. To Ohio State's
No.
Ohio State's 2 losses are Michigan by 3 and Oregon by 1.
Yeah.
And then they blew out Oregon by
Oregon later
35. And then Michigan, I mean, that game was just, they got 2 field goals blocked. I mean, they easily could have won that game. It wouldn't have been a clean win, but I don't see a world where Ohio State loses.
Yeah, me either.
I
It's
really
a
don't.
tough matchup for Notre Dame, but it looks like Ohio State's gonna come out on
And
top.
Riley Leonard's decision making is at par. I like him. It's in par with Daniel Jones'
Yeah.
decision making.
Didn't he?
Um,
Didn't he take like a big hit against Penn State?
He definitely he 100% had a concussion. 100%.
He threw some bad picks, but his
head went like this,
yeah.
like the
His-
back of his head.
He threw some bad picks,
So-
but his defense did bail him out against Penn State 100%.
They put up 27 points.
They did put up.
Yeah.
They did put up 27.
And again, also Ohio State's offense is better in every single aspect besides tight end compared to, and actually quarterback is debatable. I mean, one game Drew Allen looks like a first-round pick. The next game he looks like he's playing in the XFL.
Yeah.
So it really depends. But the only thing Penn State has on them is on Ohio State is Tyler Warren. My point is, again, Ohio State's offense is significantly better, and it's just going to outclass the Fighting Irish. Question.
All right, let's move on to the NBA, where we have a new segment called "To Trade or Not to Trade," where we determine. So the trade deadline is coming up. It's February 6th. So we're gonna say a team, and we're gonna just see if they should either hold, not do anything, sell at the deadline, or buy at the deadline and get new assets. So first, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, 1 seed in the East right now. They have the best record in the NBA, but they just came off of a terrible loss to Oklahoma City in OKC, and it was pretty ugly for them. Not gonna lie, they were down 30 going into the fourth, and I think they should buy at the deadline. Honestly, I don't think they have enough offensive pieces to compete. To win a championship, especially if they're gonna play OKC in the finals or the Celtics or the Knicks in the East. I don't think they have enough offensive pieces. I think, honestly, Cam Johnson's a good guy for them. He's a guy with an average $20 million contract, a couple of years left, provides them some offensive efficiency, provides them from shooting. He could get them like 15 points per game.
Would the Nets do that? Because then they would really be bad. I mean, they're already not great, but terrible. That would really be bad.
They're selling. They need the first pick.
Yeah,
they do.
The Nets need the first pick.
100%.
I mean, obviously, with Donovan Mitchell being kind of a streaky kind of guy, I love Garland for them. But if they added Cam Johnson to that starting five with Garland, Mitchell, Jared Allen, and Mobley, they could seriously be contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, looking at their losses, they've lost to OKC, they've lost to the Celtics. So it's clear that although they're 34-6, the teams they're losing to are
the better teams
that they're going to have to play in the long run.
Yeah.
So I mean, I agree. I don't know if Cam Johnson's the right guy, considering I don't know if the Nets are going to do that, but.
They definitely should buy the deadline.
Yeah.
They 100%. They seem like you said, they need that extra piece of offense to just push them over the edge to be true contenders, I would say. But not like they already are, but just need that true thing to push them over the edge to beat those better teams down the line.
Definitely.
All right, let's move on to the next team. We have the Miami Heat. Now, there's been a lot of controversy with the Miami Heat, with the Jimmy Butler situation. At first he didn't request a trade, and then he did request a trade, and now he just played his first game back after being suspended last night.
How did he play?
They lost, but he had 18 points, something like that.
So now I think at this point he's playing for himself, and he's not playing for the team. And if I'm the Cavs, not the Cavs, sorry, I'm looking at the Cavs. If I'm the Heat, I'm moving on from him because it's like almost he's a liability. He's a liability. He's playing for himself.
The Heat's right now in the play-in, but they're like a mid team. They're 20-20. And it just seems like Butler doesn't want to be there anymore. So if you really need to ship someone off, I guess just ship off Butler.
I mean,
and that's it.
He said in an interview,
don't have to blow it up.
He's lost his love for basketball, and the reporter asked him, "Can you find that love for basketball here?" And he's like, "Probably not."
Yeah.
I mean, he's completely moved on.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Where would you like to see him go? Like, where do you think he'd be best fit?
Or where do you think?
Where do you think he's gonna end up going? Like, if he were to get traded.
Maybe like the Pacers. That wouldn't be terrible. I mean,
you think that'd be good for like Jimmy Butler, or that'd be good for the Pacers? Like,
the Pacers.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you think he's
really
gonna?
Probably wants.
Do you think he's really gonna find his love for basketball in Indianapolis?
He's gonna request a trade to Lakers, Phoenix, and Warriors.
He's gonna
like those kind of teams.
Lakers, Phoenix, Warriors. I mean. The Phoenix I'm
gonna put it this way: a high-profile team.
Yeah, the Phoenix Suns are honestly in a really bad position right now. Bradley Beal's not playing the way his contract says he should be playing.
Yeah,
I mean he's making $45 million a year, and the coach has moved him to the bench.
NBA money is kind of ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense. Where the hell are they getting the money from?
They're just
rich.
Salary cap in the NFL, but if you went to the Phoenix Suns, I don't think that would solve their problems. I mean, they just don't mesh well together. They don't have good bench pieces.
Yeah.
I just don't see how they could even pull that off.
But
No.
I think at this point they might have already traded him. So I think
I don't
they
know.
might just ride it out.
They
Why
could
would-
ride it. They could ride it out, but it
Why
just seems
wouldn't
like
they
he.
have traded him?
Miami, the Heat players have spoken out that they don't want him to play.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, they don't want him to play. They're like insulted that he's playing, and like he's taking a lot of shots.
So they have like no like chemistry.
their chemistry is ruined.
Yeah, their chemistry's
Yeah.
gone after that interview, 100%.
Especially like with Tyler Hero playing his best season, he
Yeah.
should be an all-star.
My question is, so why has he not gotten traded already though?
Because
Maybe no
there's
one
a lot
wants
of behind the scenes stuff, and they're saying like Pat Riley, the owner and GM of the Heat, they're saying he has the upper hand.
Because if you look at it like this, right? It's a very similar comparison with Saquon. Mara wanted Saquon back for the publicity, the marketing. Like when you think of the Giants, you walk into the team store. Now it's neighbors, but it
Yeah.
was Saquon. It's a very similar thing in Miami. Like when you go online, look up a Heat jersey or anything, the first thing that
Jimmy
comes
Butler's
up is
gonna
Jimmy
come up.
Butler. So I mean, it's definitely at that point
My bad.
like something to do with that. But I don't understand why he wouldn't have been traded already.
I think
Yeah.
Jimmy needs to go.
He needs to
He
leave.
needs to go.
If the Heat doesn't want to blow it up, at least get Jimmy Butler out of there because it seems like he doesn't want to play for them, and
Yeah,
it's
he
just
doesn't.
it seems like
He doesn't want to play there.
seems toxic for their locker room
It's
now.
very toxic. I mean, after those comments he had in that media,
Did he
Yeah.
respond to that or no?
respond to what?
Did Butler say anything to those comments? Like, did a reporter ask him
Um,
hey, like your teammates said they don't really feel
No,
comfortable with you
they-
playing?
No, that was like a couple days ago when he got suspended because he said those things. And
Yeah.
he didn't want to play.
No, I'm asking, who said that they didn't want him playing though? Team
the
did, players,
did.
right? So the team or
No,
players?
he didn't respond to that.
Did he respond to that?
No.
Okay.
They didn't ask him about that. But let's move on to the next team. We have my Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC sitting at number 1 in the West right now, with a couple trade rumors going around with Cam Johnson, potentially maybe a player like Duncan Robinson. You never know. But we're the 1 seed right now. We've been very injured. We've had no Caruso for like half the year. We've had no Hardenstein for half the year. We've had no Chet. Chet's played like 10 games.
Right, so you're kind of saying that you guys are doing good without a lot of your
Their
guys.
top players.
Why change what's going on?
In my opinion, I've been going back and forth the last couple of weeks. We should not trade for anyone because, first of all, Shea's eligible for a supermax this offseason.
Yeah.
You know how much a year?
250?
No,
How much a year? Oh, what's 250 divided by 5? Whatever.
That's
that is.
50. 80 a year.
80 a
He's
year.
eligible
80?
for an
80?
$80 million salary.
That would be more than
That'd probably-
Otani.
It would be more than Otani.
Yeah.
But
And
like,
you have that.
he's not like that.
No,
though.
he'll probably pull off a Brunson. Like I feel like he said not maybe not that much.
Dude, if he can get 80
No.
mil, he's not taking 40.
He said multiple times he wants to stay in OKC. He loves OKC.
Nah,
He
he's
said
gonna
that
fade. He's
multiple
going
times.
to the Knicks. He said he loved the Garden. He loved the fans.
Look,
he loved the atmosphere.
at-
He's coming to the Knicks, baby. He's coming to the
No,
Knicks.
he's not. He's staying with OKC.
Like,
At
if he's
first-
gonna go anywhere besides OKC, I think it would be the Knicks. But that's just my opinion.
First of all, he's not a free agent. It's an extension.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general. Like if he didn't want to
No.
stay with the Thunder,
But-
he's coming to New York.
Going back to what I said, the Thunder, it may not look like it right now, but we might be in like a bad money situation a couple of years down the road because not only does Shea have a contract extension coming up, but also Jalen Williams
Yep.
is in his 3rd year, so he's going to need an extension soon. Chet Holmgren is in his 3rd year; he's going to need an extension soon. And honestly, Hardenstein, Presti has to decide whether he's going to come back or not because he's only on a 2-year contract, and then he's got a team or player option. But it's up to him because he's got a large contract too.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think he's going to come back after 2 years, even though he's balling.
You don't think he stays?
I don't think he stays.
Where the heck is he gonna go?
I don't know, but he's
Back
not.
to New York?
Maybe.
No. Who knows?
It could be.
As what? Backup? Like,
Yeah.
But like,
or move Cat to power forward?
Yeah, that would probably they would do, but that's in like 3 years down the
Yeah.
road.
yeah.
So.
So you don't know. You can't.
But right now, like with Cam Johnson especially, we just don't have the money for that, especially we'd have to give up Wiggins or Joe, and I do not want to do that right now.
I
Those are
say you
two
guys-
crucial
you-
bench pieces.
We'll just leave it like this. You guys are doing well right
Yeah.
now with a lot of your key pieces.
And
Just
when
leave it like
you
that.
are healthy, it seems like you guys have a good chemistry too as a team. So I think that
Yeah.
if you guys just hold,
Yeah.
and it has, like Henry just said, as good as you guys are without some key pieces, when those guys are healthy towards the end of down the road, you guys could probably be even better. So
It
I think
doesn't really
holding might
sound
be the
like
better
any
decision for you
benefits
guys.
of trading for
No,
anyone.
Yeah.
there's no benefits. I mean, we have the best defense in NBA history statistically right now, and we have the front runner for MVP, and we're just a dominant team right now. And
Yeah.
especially what Vincent just said about the team chemistry, trading away one of your key players wouldn't do well for chemistry.
Trade away the fake Jalen Williams. I don't like him. I don't like him.
I love Jay Will. I love Jay Will.
His-
So you guys have two Jalen Williams, right?
Yeah.
He has zero aura. Zero
Zero
aura.
aura, but he's
The
the
aura,
leader in
negative
team
aura.
chemistry.
He
He's
doesn't
the glue
play.
guy.
He doesn't
He
play.
started yesterday.
Really? Maybe the first time.
Because Hardenstein and Chet were out.
Nah, well,
All right.
so he starts with everybody else is not playing.
Yeah.
All right.
But moving on, let's go on to the next team. We have your guys' New York Knicks. What do you guys think the Knicks should do?
They
with
got
the
to trade
deadline?
for someone. It's not okay that Josh Hart's averaging like 45 minutes per game.
Yeah, they need someone. I think they need someone else on the bench.
Because
They need someone else on
I'm
the
just
bench.
I'm just gonna say what everyone.
But what can they trade? That's
I
the
don't
thing.
know, but let me
What
just say
can they
this.
trade?
I'm just gonna say what everyone else is thinking. We have 0 picks, by the way. We've traded away so many picks.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this. It's not gonna be a popular opinion, but I have a very bad feeling that what happened last year is gonna happen again.
Deuce.
Someone's gonna get hurt in the playoffs
Oh.
because you're playing 82 straight games and then
And-
you're going into the playoffs playing, very meaningful games.
And he doesn't. And
And
Thibs doesn't
you're
use his
playing-
bench.
He doesn't use his bench. You're playing 45 minutes a game.
The only bench he
tough
used.
physical games. That's why
Yeah.
we lost last year.
'Cause everyone got hurt.
Everyone got hurt.
But the thing is,
so-
Thibs will use like Miles McBride and Campaign off the bench, but
Occasionally.
then occasionally he'll use
Dude.
two others like
Campaign has been playing like a 6-man of the year recently. He had
But I like
Campaign's been
Tyler
playing
Coley
great.
too. I feel bad for him.
I think Kola could be
love
good, but
him.
I'm saying
I love him.
get the bench more involved. Like yes,
That's-
Mikael Bridges and Josh Hart are not
That's
But
where-
also, like,
that's where-
but Mitch is coming
but
back
not
in,
everyone
like,
else.
A month.
when is Mitch coming back?
They said a
They
couple.
They said like a month.
Do
They
you
said-
think he's
they
really
said-
coming back in a month?
That would be a
It
key. That'd be a
says
key
month.
addition, though.
This is where
See,
OKC.
the question is like if Campaign still plays that level
Yeah, I think he will.
and Mitch comes back and
Remember-
please elevate Kolek,
Remember-
they might not need to make.
Remember Campaign last year with the Sixers?
Yeah.
In the playoffs?
Yes.
Yep.
He was
Yes.
dominant, bro.
Yeah, he was against the Knicks too.
He made like 6 threes in
Dude,
one
yeah.
game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think a Campaign could be a very big part of that offense for the Knicks, and that Thibs needs to play more bench. Like that's been the problem.
Is it a
Play your
bad
bench
take to
more.
say he has to change his coaching style a little bit?
He won't do that.
And he won't,
He's
but he
not
won't.
going to. I'm not saying
He's
he
been
will,
coaching this for the 15 years, 20 years.
and that's why we lost last year.
And you know
And
why?
that's
That's
what
why
it was.
he was the coach when Derrick Rose got injured. He played too much. That's why Derrick Rose's career was derailed.
Yeah. So, I mean,
But yeah.
that speaks for itself. They have like the duos. Like if you look at it, well, first of all, individual players. They have 4 of the top.
Yeah.
I think they have 5
Yeah.
of the top 10.
So
I think Cat's 10th, but like the players like combinations, they have like the top 5. Like Cat, like for example, Cat and Brunson and Hart and Bridges. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But one player they could target, especially with Mitch Robinson injured, is Jonas Valanciunas on the Wizards.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
they
the
could
Wizards are tanking, and he's on a pretty cheap contract with like $6 million salary. So if they can match that with like
they might trade.
Jericho Sims goodbye, you're
Yeah.
terrible.
he's really bad.
They're saying they could trade Mitchell Robinson for him.
I would do that.
That's what I've been seeing
You
that
can't
too.
stay on the course. You're getting like
You can't.
You're
Yeah.
getting
He's always hurt.
player for no one.
He's always hurt, but I don't know. But we're all gonna go say the Knicks need to buy at the deadline.
But they need another superstar because it.
I don't know if they need another shooter. I think they need. I think they
just
need
say
bench.
this real
That's what I
quick.
think they need. They need more bench.
Every night, I look at the box score, look at the stats for the next games, and it's like Brunson, 30, 25, 40, 29, Cat, about the same area. And then you see like randomly OG 40,
More
Bridges 40, and the next game he is like 7. Like the
Very
consistency.
streaky.
The
It's very- yeah.
consistency
OG is
is
very inconsistent.
The consistency is.
But Mikel has been playing much
huge-
better than he
but,
has
dude,
started.
Their consistency is like it's bad. It's really shaky, and that's what I'm saying that they need another guy. That's just my opinion because.
But-
Honestly, what really
or
set
they
them
just
back,
figure out what works and just I don't know because they're very inconsistent.
what really set them back and was really controversial last year was the OG Anunoby trade. They traded OG Anunoby. They received OG Anunoby and Precious Achua for RJ Barrett and Quickly. And honestly, I feel like they would benefit from RJ and Quickly right now, even though Quickly's hurt. RJ's playing like an all-star, and Quickly,
I think-
everyone knows what he's capable of when he's
Yeah.
healthy.
But I think RJ is. I don't think it was going to work out in New York.
That
I
would
think
also
he needed
help
to
the
change
depth,
the
too.
scenery.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Knicks, I think they're going to buy at the deadline 100%, and they need bench like I just said. But to say with Henry they need another superstar, I don't know
I
if
wouldn't
they
say.
can. I don't know if they can.
say
I don't,
superstar, but
another star.
another like another guy. Like
Yes.
Valanciunas is like another like role like depth like
But who?
occasionally playing.
But
they
can
need
they
somebody
take
though.
like?
With the Knicks' salary cap
Yeah, that's
issues
what I'm
right
saying,
now,
salary.
I don't
I-
think it's possible.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
With their
I
salary
know.
cap, I don't think they can.
Or well, I love Coley, but like I don't know, like Bridges for four first round picks, like
That was
that
wild.
might not have been smart. It might not have been smart. Like
Yes, I was
what
saying
I'm gonna
trying to-
say is just the facts. He's not playing to what they thought he was gonna be. There's been glimpses of it.
Did you see that?
There's
But
been
like
glimpses,
one thing that
but
they
not
said.
like what we thought.
You see
What
that?
did you think he was going to be? 'Cause
Well, like last year in Brooklyn, he was averaging like 25 points a game.
Yeah.
well, obviously
Like,
he's not doing that now because
Well, yeah, but, like,
he's the third option.
I
he's the fourth
understand
option.
that, but
Well,
like,
yeah.
he's not even like scoring anymore though. Like he's getting like
He's averaging a good 18 points per
Yeah.
game. He only
But the
averaged
thing
19
is-
last year. He's doing what you.
way more maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
it
but
was
I
just-
think
don't
that's
know.
fine for what Bridges is putting up. But you see, for like someone said that should the Knicks try and trade for Dante DiVincenzo back? They should try and bring him
But
back.
that's
again.
not what we need though. We
But I know
have
what
we
I'm
have
saying.
3-point shooters. We have guys that
No.
fill his role. Campaign,
Yeah.
Kolick.
I know,
obviously Brunson,
but I
too.
think
We
they
don't
need
him,
they need
though.
someone else. They need someone else.
They need defense. I'll
They
tell
need
you
someone
that
else
for
to
a
back
fact.
up Cat because
Yeah,
they can't have
that's
can't
right.
have Jericho Sims being the backup for Cat.
No.
They can't have
Well,
that.
he's not. Well, whenever Mitch decides to come back and decides to play, he's
That's
really
their-
the third string.